welcome to Business Growth School for Service Providers podcast. I'm your host Ali Salman, and this podcast is brought to you by Rapid Boost Marketing, online marketing for service providers. Are you a dentist, realtor, lawyer, accountant? Do you provide services locally? Then this podcast is for you. Here we share strategies, tricks, and techniques on how to generate more leads and sales using online marketing. Join us every day for 5 minutes and take away strategies which you can apply in your business.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 212 of Business Growth School for Service Providers. My name is Ali Salman. Super excited to have you guys today. And today we are talking about the part 2 of the episode 211, which was all about we make emotional decisions, right? And science has proven that, data backs it. We all make emotional decisions. So how you can basically use emotions in your marketing to actually earn more customers, because people are making emotional decisions, right? Doesn't matter how much they say they think logical, they justify their decisions through logical reasoning, right? But they all make emotional decisions. We all make emotional decisions. So how can you influence people's decisions, right? With the help of emotions. So there are 6 ways in marketing you can use emotions. Number 1 is reciprocity, right? When you give someone, other people feel obligated to give you back. There was a little, like a tiny experiment done at a restaurant. When there was 1 mint left, right, on the table, the tips went up by 3%. When there were 2 tips left on the table, tips went up by 14%. So the reciprocity works really, really well. Scarcity works also really, really well. When people think that something is limited, they run for it. Like we all have this habit that limited, right? Limited edition. Hence brands have this limited edition, right? Now, Concorde. British Airways used to have Concorde, which was the super fast aircraft, and there were 2 flights. It used to be daily from London to New York, and in 2003 they basically they decided to shut it down because it wasn't working. It wasn't it wasn't making money for them. But guess what? Once they said that they're shutting it down, all of a sudden the tickets were sold out, right? Because people said, you know what, they won't be able to get on this experience, right? So scarcity works really, really well. Number 3 is authority. Authority also works really, really well, and let me explain you how. So, especially for service providers. So this experiment was done at a real estate brokerage, and what they did to get more listings, whenever they had a phone call come in, they used to first, rather than just forwarding the call to Jim, right? They said, hey, by the way, let me forward this call to Jim, and let me tell you that Jim is actually head of sales and he has over 20 years of experience working in real estate. They saw that their conversion ratio all of a sudden went up when they start mentioning that this is the person who's expert at doing this. Similarly, when they had buyers calling in, they said this person has 15 years of helping potential homeowners find their dream homes, right? And all of a sudden the conversion ratio from the call to the meeting or the call to the listing went up significantly because they were clearly exhibiting authority, right? Now, number 4 is basically consistency. Now, consistency is very important for any brand out there, right? In the long run, consistency, the emotion of consistency trumps a lot of things. And there's an example, there's a case study done by non-profit, and what they did to one neighborhood, they sent out front lawn signs which says don't drive fast to basically deter people who are driving fast on the streets. The second neighborhood, they basically sent out the postcards first that why they shouldn't be driving fast in different people's in the neighborhood. Guess what happens? When they sent out the front lawn sign first directly to people, not a lot of people took on that offer. But when they sent out the postcard first and then they sent out the sign, 75% people took on that offer because there was a consistency. They saw that person twice or thrice or 4 times. It all happens with us. Sometimes we don't make a decision for in the first meeting. We sometimes we meet someone 5 times, 4 times, 3 times, 2 times, and all of a sudden our trust goes up, right? So the consistency, element of consistency is very important in influencing people's decisions, right? Number 5 is liking. We all work, hire people, go and give our business to different people because end of the day we like them, right? So example is why do you work with a realtor when there are cheaper realtors out there? Because you like that realtor. Why do you go to a dentist when there is 15 other dentists in the same damn neighborhood? Because you like that dentist. Liking is very, very critical. So be likable as your business. If you, as a CMO, as an entrepreneur, you should be likable. Your business should be likable. Last one is consensus. It's very interesting. When people have consensus, they somehow jump on their decision. So let me give an example. Hotels did this simple like a case study, basically they ran an experiment. So they wanted to reduce the use of towels. They wanted to increase the reuse of towels and basically decrease the people amount of towels they were throwing out there after one use, right? So what they did, they start placing a small postcard with the towels and on the bed, and it says 75% of our guests actually reuse of our towels and they reuse it up to 2 to 3 times. Now what happens that their towel use ratio went up, right? Because people had consensus. The guests who used that hotel, they saw that a play card, and they were reading something which they also want to have consensus with. So it's very interesting that how people can be influenced to make decisions and be make certain choices by triggering these 6 emotions, right? So what we talked about: reciprocity, we talked about scarcity, we talked about authority, we talked about consistency, we talked about likeliness and liking, and last one we talked about consensus, right? Okay, so these are the 6 ways you can basically deter or influence your potential customers' decisions and use these 6 emotions effectively in your marketing, right? Because we are all making emotional decision. And go to the last episode, I talk about 2 studies, right, done by one of them by Harvard professors, and why they have proven that we all make emotional decisions, right? So we are all drama queens, as I say. We all make emotional decisions, and hence if you understand emotion in marketing, you can actually do really, really well. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a good day. If you have likes, if you have comments,
Hey, thank you so much for joining me today. If you want to listen to previous episodes, go to rapidboostmarketing.com/grow. Again, I'll repeat that: rapidboostmarketing.com/grow. I'll catch you tomorrow bright and early with another business growth lesson. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.